Now that we have two flagship 5G phones here in India and both of them are priced around the same, I think it's time to compare them, see what the differences are, and figure out what is the better option to go with. So today, let's take a detailed look at both the Realme X50 Pro and the iQOO 3, and let's see what the pros and cons for each phone are. Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech, and if you do end up liking what you see with this video, subscribe and turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's now get this video started. Now 5G isn't the only thing that's common between these two devices. They share a pretty similar design language as well. Glass on both sides with metal holding them together. Now this is where things get interesting. For the iQOO 3, we've got Gorilla Glass 6 to the back and shot sensation up to the front. Realme on the other hand, they've chosen to go with the more tried and tested Gorilla Glass 5 on both the front and back. Speaking of back, they have a unique finish this time around. The X50 Pro is available in rust red and moss green, two muted colors that give off an almost gem-like glow under light. The iQOO, on the other hand, this volcanic orange, that's quite different. We've not seen anything like this before. It's a solid color, no gradient, and it's very different. It's unique and I really like it. And just like with the Realme, this is a matte finish too, so fingerprints and smudges don't really show up that easily. iQOO also offers the typical silver and black options if that's something you want. And this is the heavier option by about 10 grams, and it's also a tad thicker, but barring these, the height and width are similar between both phones. Now for the little increase in footprint, iQOO has a 6% higher capacity battery, a headphone jack, something that's found lacking on the X50 Pro, and also these monster buttons. The ROG Air Trigger-like functionality, all of which should be helpful with gaming. Additionally, the iQOO 3 also has a smaller punch hole to the front, while Realme's gone for a pill-shaped dual punch hole. That said, the Realme does have its own share of pros or advantages. The earpiece above the display, it doubles as a speaker. So we've got dual speakers here. iQOO does not offer that on the iQOO 3. Then the display. With the Realme X50 Pro, we get a 90Hz refresh rate compared to the regular 60Hz refresh on the iQOO 3. So everything, especially gaming's a lot smoother. Now barring that, the displays, they are quite similar, 6.44 inches in size. They are AMOLED panels, Full HD Plus resolutions, HDR10 Plus certification with 180Hz touch sampling. The similarities don't just end there. Even under the hood, we've got the same top-of-the-line flagship Snapdragon 865 SoC running the show on both the phones. It's blazing fast, and they come with 5G support. Interestingly, iQOO are selling their lower variants as LTE only, despite Qualcomm including the 5G X55 modem with every 865 SoC sold. So that means even the 4G iQOO 3 variants, they will have 5G hardware, but 5G would just be disabled, and iQOO does this to keep the pricing aggressive to save on certification costs. Now talking about variants, we have 3 each, 6128, 8128 and 12256 for the X50 Pro, all with 5G, while iQOO gets 4G only for the 8128 and 8256, while the top 12256 does have 5G available. Speaking of 5G, both these phones seem to have coverage for the 5G bands that are going up for auction in India, so that's good news. That's good for anyone who's looking to future-proof. Now coming back to the performance front, we've tried playing a bunch of games on both phones, and as expected, no surprises here. Adreno 650 was able to run everything we threw at it without breaking so much as a sweat. So there is not much to separate these two. That was until we switched over to games that supported higher refresh rates. Here's where the X50 Pro starts to pull away. Similar to scrolling and other day-to-day operations, playing at a consistent 90 FPS, it just feels smoother. It's almost like we get a split second more in order to adjust our aim and react to things. It's not something I can show you guys on video. It's rather something you'll have to experience for yourself. Now the iQOO 3 does have its own advantages. For starters, it uses the faster UFS 3.1 storage compared to UFS 3 on the X50 Pro, but that doesn't seem to make a huge difference with practical day-to-day use. Next, iQOO does have these monster buttons. They are fully customizable, easy to use, and if you are into first-person shooters, then it does make aiming down sights easier. Even with other genres where there are a bunch of buttons on screen, it is something we did find use for. Now, with performance, both these phones are pretty much on par. They're only separated but by what we've already seen, the monster buttons and the display's refresh rates. Moving on to battery, the iQOO 3 has the upper hand with regards to the capacity. 4440 mAh compared to 4200 mAh. Traditionally, Vivo's FunTouch OS and ColorOS have both been pretty optimized for battery life, and iQOO UI here as well as Realme UI are both built on top of FunTouch and ColorOS respectively. So I expect both phones to do well. As for charge speeds, they are pretty close. 55 watts on the iQOO, 65 watts on the Realme. How much of a real difference does the 10 watts make? Should we do a charge test and find out? Well, leave a comment down below if you want to see that, and let's make it happen. Anyway, Realme takes the win here because on top of all of this, the X50 Pro also has support for 18 watt quick charge USB PD and 30 watt VOOC, which makes it all the more convenient. Even if you do end up forgetting to carry that proprietary charger with you, you'd find something else that you could charge your phone with that is not going to be really slow. You'd still get some kind of fast charging going for it. And all that said and done, let's now move on to the cameras. The cameras are ones we've seen a lot of in the past. It's the 64 megapixel Samsung ISOCELL Bright GW1 on the Realme X50 Pro versus the 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 on the iQOO 3, both with an f1.8 lens. As expected, the daylight photos are excellent. Detail levels are consistent across the board, but the iQOO 3, it does come out with more contrasty, punchier colors. Just look at the silencer and the body panel of this bike. Under low light, we have a dedicated night mode on both phones, and here iQOO again seems to have an edge. Like with these trees for example, the iQOO 3 has managed to retain a lot more detail while keeping the colors accurate and the noise under check. Pictures from the 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera on the iQOO 3 also look better than the 8 megapixel ones taken via the Realme. First off, the colors are more accurate. Just one glance and anyone can tell it's evening from the color of the sky. Well, the one shot with the Realme, here the sky looks a little too blue for my liking. It's a little off, kinda unrealistic. Both these phones also have sensors with telephoto lenses. These make for 2x optical zoom, and at 2x, the detail levels do look okay, but the differences in color temperature, they're pretty easy to spot. And since the Realme X50 Pro can go even further, here are the shots at 2x optical, 5x hybrid, and finally 20x digital. The final sensor on our list, it's used for depth detection on both. It's a regular 2 megapixel depth sensor on the iQOO. Well, with Realme, they've gone a little different with a monochrome sensor. Again, that's also used for depth detection. As you can see, both of them do alright when it comes to portraits. On the selfie side of things, we've got a 16 megapixel sensor on the iQOO going head to head with a 32 megapixel Sony IMX616 on the Realme. And well, the iQOO is no match for the Sony sensor on the X50 Pro. This new selfie camera on the Realme does really well. The image is sharper. We can literally zoom into individual strands of hair on his face. The X50 Pro has a second selfie camera too, and this is not a depth sensor. They've gone with a pretty decent 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, and it's pretty useful for groupies. Realme has actually gone all out with the selfie cameras here. We have support for electronic image stabilization on the front camera, which is excellent for vlogging, and portrait video is also available. Talking about videos, we can only shoot up to 4K 30 FPS on the Realme X50 Pro with the rear camera, whereas iQOO can go up to 4K 60. When it comes to the quality of the footage itself, iQOO wins this one hands down. The 4K 60 FPS footage, it comes out looking smoother with better details and nicer colors. So overall, my verdict on the camera is iQOO for rear photography including videos, while the X50 Pro is better for selfies. Okay, so conclusion time. The iQOO 3 starts at 37,000 rupees while the X50 Pro starts 1,000 rupees higher. Remember, the base variant is 8128 on the iQOO compared to 6128 on the Realme. Now guys, there is a bit of marketing to both of these. First, the 2 extra gigs of RAM on the iQOO, probably not gonna make much of a difference for most people. 6 gigs, 8 gigs, I'm not saying it's not gonna make a difference for everyone. 99% of the users, not really gonna notice a difference. Similarly, on the Realme end of the spectrum, 5G isn't realistically going to be available in India for quite a bit of time. So taking these two marketing things out of the equation, what do we have? For 1000 rupees less, iQOO offers a marginally higher capacity battery, better rear cameras, pressure sensitive buttons, and of course, the headphone jack. On the other hand, pay 1000 rupees more and what do we get? With the X50 Pro, we get that higher refresh rate screen which translates to a better gaming experience. There's also a more versatile fast charging solution. There are the excellent dual speakers, this better selfie cameras, and Realme has put all this together and yet managed to keep the weight lighter. To simplify it, it all finally boils down to this. If 5G or the high refresh rate's probably what's important to you, then pay the 1K extra, pick up the X50 Pro. If you're okay living with a 60Hz panel, then save yourself 1000 rupees, go for the iQOO 3. It should offer you a great experience with some extras that you're not gonna find anywhere else. So there you have it, my 2 cents on the X50 Pro versus the iQOO 3. What do you think? Given a choice between these two phones, which one would you choose and why? Leave a comment down below and let me know. And with that, we get to the end of this video. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. And thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.